Howdy, fella nerf herders. I like me a good old space western. I don't like having them spoiled by Bantha Poodoo yapping too much. The following is just two Mando-loving scoundrels talking about the show. So if you don't want spoilers, then turn your tauntaun now and head back to base. So long, and happy listening.
Welcome back, Mando!
I am IG-11. I am this child's nurse droid, and require that you remind him to me immediately.
He said you were the best in the parsec.
I have spoken. This is the way.
Welcome back, Hail Ming listeners, to Hail Ming Presents This Is the Way. We're excited every week to bring you our take on the latest episode of The Mandalorian, Season 2. And as always, I'm here with my brother from another mother, Rick Morgan. Rick, how are you doing out there?
Doing good, man. We're jumping in the ship. We're heading towards Trask. We're gonna have a blast with this one, man.
Man, yeah, I really enjoyed this one, and I can't wait to talk about it.
Because we said that last episode too, and the episode before too. But man, they're really upping the game in this series, man.
I agree. I thought the last one was a great filler episode, and that's the way I looked at it. I didn't think that it measured up to the first one, but I think this one picked right back up with the ongoing story and was fantastic. Yeah,
man. So it hits the ground running. I mean, we're still picks up right from where the last episode left off, where we're still flying towards Trask. And let's face it, dude's ship's in pretty bad shape.
Yeah, it's limping.
You can see one of the turbines is just about gone, and when they get into the atmosphere of the planet, his shields, nothing's working, and he's just basically does a kind of a gracious crash landing, and it's pretty awesome, man. Just right from the get-go, we've got, some pretty, white-knuckle action going on.
Well, I think that, we talked about it. The ship, the Razor Crest is in terrible shape. And I think that's one of the things, that and the sound effects are two of the things that they've taken from the original trilogy that I think everyone is, whether they know it or not, they're really latching onto. Because the sound effects as he's entering the atmosphere, they're the same as when the Death Star is trying to come around the forest moon of Yavin to line up and blow up that moon to get that base. It's the same trajectory stuff, and like as soon as you hear it, it just takes you back. And the fact that the Razor Crest is all beat up, whereas everything in the prequel trilogy was all sleek and new and pretty and almost looked like they were all wearing costumes that had never been worn before. They didn't do that with this series. Everything looks lived in, and it makes a huge difference.
Yeah. But yeah, what I loved was, of course, you go through the panic of the crash landing and the people calling in saying, hey, you need to slow your ship down. You're not going to make it. And he's just like, yeah, I'm trying my best here. And when he does land, he actually lands it pretty well. And then it just falls off in the dock there at the ocean. But what I do love is this big AT-AT crane looking thing. Yeah. It's almost like they modified one of the AT-ATs to just be a working machinery, heavy lifting device.
And it must have some long legs because, it's sitting in this ocean. I mean, I'm sure it's a shallow point because they have a port there. But, I mean, it's just this, you're right, this walker, with a big crane head picking up the Razor Quest. I thought it was great. It was a great, like, exciting intro without really adding any kind of combat to it. It was kind of like, well, and we're still barely limping along to the next planet because that's the way this is going. And you see a Mon Calamari sitting there on the dock. He's got his little tablet for people entering, and he's shaking his head like, "Oh my God, another one."
Yeah. And then Mando comes out and he's like, "Can you fix it?" He's like, "Fix it? Nah. Make it fly? Yeah."
yeah. He's really good. And of course, then you get the salamander frog people, meeting at the port, and they're just cute, man. They're really cute.
Becky was like, it's almost like they dressed them up as like, old-timey immigrants, meeting other. I said, it's exactly what this is. I mean, that's what they're playing off of. And, man, it's sweet to see them get together and they're excited. And, and Mando's like, yeah. He's got that Bruce Campbell. Yeah, that's great. Can you put me in the direction I need to go?
Right. Yeah, I mean, you're right. And she even said in the last episode, her husband went off to find a hospitable place for them and find work, and so that they could have a life together. So yeah, it's entirely that immigrant thing, and then of course the frog guy's like, yeah, just go right over here, like 30 seconds away, right there. That's where you'll find out about.
See that door? Just walk in that door right there.
Because that's the way this goes. You got to keep moving.
One thing we don't mention, though, is when this is going on, we see a figure that's cloaked, that's kind of hiding back in the back, and Mando kind of sees this figure. And then you get a few people passing by, and then that figure is gone. And
yeah, it's that whole disappearing character trick. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I was just disappointed it didn't have a real long black nose and went ringer, ringer, ringer like Cubert, like...
Ring. Yeah. That's... What was it, a Kubaz? Never mind. Right.
Yeah. So we go in this little restaurant, and he's asking questions, and Mon Calamari is waiting on him as well. And he's like, I'm looking for more of people of my kind. Do you know anybody that knows where these people are? And the waiter's like, well, I don't, but I know some people over here that might. So he goes and talks to a Quarren.
Yep.
I don't think they give actual names
of
these people.
But that's okay. There's so many names flying around. I'm trying to catch them, and man, yeah. I like the fact that they don't feel the need to make every reference to anything mentioned in the other movies, which is kind of what made the movies good. Is like they mention stuff without context. The Kessel Run and all this stuff that made it seem like, of course, you should know what it is, but you don't because it's all in an exotic foreign galaxy. And so, the fact that they add that stuff in from the previous movies, but they also just kind of like throw out new names and stuff like you should know what they are and never explain them.
Well, the Quarren looks like they would be kin to the Mon Calamari to some extent because they are all squiddish kind of people.
Yeah, I mean, in the Clone Wars cartoons, the ones that Genndy Tartakovsky did, they're fighting. It's kind of like the civil war of Mon Calamari is between the Admiral Akbar's people and the Quarrens. And the Quarrens joined the Separatists. So, they always kind of have been good and evil on the same planet.
But the cool thing about this is the Quarren's like, yeah, I can take you to where they are, and we'll have to take a ship, though, and not your typical Star Wars flying ship. We're going on the high seas.
Yeah.
And we're doing a little sailing.
Yeah, it's some kind of a fishing boat. It's a big trawler with a hole in the middle, and he's like, hey, you want to watch us feed this thing? And
wait a minute. For a minute, first he goes, I am the Pirate King.
He does his little squid tentacles go, I am the Pirate King. Yeah. Look at this big thing.
If you don't know what that is, check out episode, I don't know, it's the farcical episode 19 of the Hell Ming Power Hour. You'll know what that's all about.
Oh man. That one's a ton of fun, but
that's good stuff.
So
man, he opens up this
episode.
Moves up.
Go ahead.
Yeah, he opens up this water cage, and he's got this creature in it. I didn't catch the name of the creature that he says.
It was a Mamacor.
Mamacor, and they're feeding it, and it brings it up to the surface. And right when it happens, this Quarren takes a staff and knocks the baby the child over into the water. And this thing just comes up almost like the Sarlacc pit kind of thing and just grabs the baby in its container and just goes down with it.
Right. It eats that that crib and everything.
So Mando jumps in, and then they shut the gate over the top of him. So all this was just a way to capture them. And they're trying to kill him, man. They're trying to stick his head underwater and keep him from coming back up. And he's not even trying to get down to the monster just yet. He's just trying to get the bars broken loose, I guess.
Right, because they want to steal the Beskar armor, and they're talking about how rich they're going to be when they kill this guy and take his stuff, and it's dire. The situation looks bad for. It's like if we were going to commercial right now, the guy would be like, "Well, it looks real bad for old Din Djarin. Let's see what happens after this commercial break."
Yep, and then during that break, when we come back from commercial, there's another group of Mandalorians, it looks like, show up. There's 3 of them. And I'm going to say it, if I was going to be in a group of Mandalorians, my armor would probably be something like these guys, because it's blue with the gray. To me, it's just sharp.
Yeah, it looks great. And there are definitely throwbacks to that whole Clone Wars series, which my son has watched the entirety of, but I haven't. But in walking through, I know these are characters, and their emblems are characters from that.
Yep. Show enough
because they look great.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and the cool thing about it is you got you got male and female Mandalorians kicking some squid butt on this ship, right? And they opened up the container, they get Mando out of there, and then one of them says he tells them, "Hey, that creature down there's got the kid." So one of them just says, "I'm on it," jumps in, goes down there. You just see an explosion underwater, and they come out with the container, rip it open, and the baby's just fine.
And before you know it, you're friends.
They're friends.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, they're badass. I mean, they come in and they lay waste to this group of folks, and then they're just. I mean, and like you're right. Their armor looks high speed and aerodynamic. They're 2 chicks and a dude, and they really look great. Yeah, and it's really great whenever a Mandalorian comes in. Like Mando's troop from the other one, they all look great, just in a different way. They really did a good job of using this armor to create characters that, whether they take their helmet off or not, you can tell them all apart.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is, even though they're all kind of the same, you're starting to get that separation of almost like little clans of groups that belong to each other. And they're all kind of on the same team, but they're all in their own little camps. And we kind of get some story of that as we go along. And after all this is over, we find out that it's the leader of this group is Bo-Katan, which comes from the Clone Wars, like you were talking about, the animated series.
Yeah.
And played by Katie Sackhoff, which Katie Sackhoff is the voice for that character in the animated series. So now she's actually playing the character, which...
That's awesome. I didn't know that.
Yeah, if you don't know who Katie Sackhoff is, she's Starbuck from the reboot of Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, that's awesome. All I knew was that she had a severe headband, man.
Yeah.
She had this headband that's got lights on either side of it, and it like holds her hair back, and it's it is a hair ornament to end all hair ornaments. That's for sure.
Yeah, she's a big character in the Clone Wars, and this is the whole point of this is they're this little ragtag group that are on a mission that happens to be happening at this port where all this is taking place. And they happen to find this other Mandalorian. So we find out that cloaked figure we saw earlier was actually one of these ladies that's in this group that was kind of saying, "Hey, wait a minute, there's another Mando here."
Right. And they're kind of main characters too. Like, they aren't just nobos. But another thing, then of course, when they take off their helmets, he's immediately like, "Oh, you're not really Mandalorians. Where'd you get the armor?"
Right.
And they're like, "Well, we have more we have more of a right to it than you do because we're real Mandalorians and." Where did you get the armor? And he's like, "Well, I got the armor the right way." And they're like, "No, it didn't happen like that." But as soon as he says,
it's pretty close.
As soon as he says, you took your helmet off, you're not a real Mandalorian. One of the other ones, she says kind of under her breath, says, "Dank Ferric," which I had to look up. It's actually a curse word in the Star Wars universe.
Well, he says it too when they're crashing the ship, at the beginning. So
did he? I didn't catch that. Man.
So I picked it up that it must be some kind of, curse word. So
well, I love it. It's so dense. These episodes are so dense that I watched this one twice and I'm still finding out stuff from what you noticed. So that's why I love this show. And man, I love just the fact that they're playing on the depth of this galaxy to really deliver stuff in a short episode that's just so densely packed. But again,
they're pulling from all the sources too, not only the literature stuff, but the animated series, the movies. They're really doing a nice job of tying it all together. I know we say that every episode, but you just see it more and more as we go along.
Yeah.
And when they refer to Din as, well, you're a child of the Watch. Well, what that is again, from the Clone Wars, that's the Death Watch, which was, the way they describe it in the episode is they're more of a separate, super religious version of the Mandalorian that want to get things back to the old way of, the stature that it was to be a Mandalorian. So basically the Amish, the Amish Mandalorian.
Yeah, they're zealots. They have a religious, it was like, this is the way, right? And they're like, we just won't stray from the way and everything will be fine. Let's go back. And, sometimes that's a good idea and sometimes you got to move forward. Who knows? But
this all ties into for the search for the Darksaber.
Right.
I know we haven't gotten much into that, but this is all about reclaiming the throne for the Mandalorians. And Bo-Katan is rightfully, according to the legend, she's rightfully the next heir of the throne, which is why this episode's called the Heiress.
Right on.
She's supposed to be, the next King Arthur, right? And that's kind of where this thing is heading. So they are there to do this mission. And they help the Mando out, so he'll help them. And he's like, look, I don't need any of this. We forget about the other scene where after they have the little confrontation, he's like, yeah, I'm out of here. So he jettisons off of the ship.
Yeah.
And when he lands, there's another group of Quard. It's like, you killed my brother. Prepare to die.
Yeah, and in much the same manner, they ended the same way. The other three Mandalorians show up, and Bo-Katan's like, he didn't kill your brother. I did. And then we just kill them all. It's like half a second, and all of them are dead.
Yeah. Yeah, this is, I know we got excited in season 1 when all the other Mandalorians show up and have the big fight. But this is that tactical thing you want to see. These guys are bad.
Yeah.
They have got it together. And, this is, from here on, it just kicks butt. But they convince Mando that, hey, I've got information of to lead you to a Jedi that you're trying to get to. So you can, take this offspring to whoever it needs to go to. But in trade, I need you to help us because we're in Trask. This is a black market dock. And we need these weapons that are on this Imperial freighter ship. We want to get those because that'll help us get to the person, which when they're talking about that, they're talking about Moff Gideon, who's got the actual Darksaber. And
as for the last episode of the last season, they showed him with it. Yeah.
So if they can defeat this guy, get the Darksaber, then reclaim the throne. That's kind of the whole mission here. So he decides that, okay, I'll help for trade for this information on the Jedi. They drop little baby off at the Frog People's house. They're nice enough to take him in. And
am I the only one that was like, uh-oh?
Yeah.
Like, you're going to come back and they're going to be stringing the child up because they caught him eating an egg. But I think now that the eggs are fertilized and one of them hatches a little tadpole, then it's different.
Yeah. And I guess it has to be different because people have been losing their crap over that last episode about him eating the eggs.
Yeah, they'll get over it.
Oh. Never mind when you go to the kitchen and open that carton of eggs and, eat you an omelet, but...
Yeah, I'm not even getting into any of that. Like, I'm a part of a couple of Mandalorian groups, and, there's people coming on there. I get it. It's I said it in that last episode. It was intended to make the child less of the cutesy thing and to make you have some issues with him. Like, wait,
Well-
he did something that makes me uncomfortable because the mama's right there trying to get her eggs to her, her husband, and the baby's eating them. So now you can't just say, oh, it's cute. Let's have a coffee mug with his cute little face on it now. It gives you issues with it, which is what a good story should do. Should make you question the characters.
But at the same time, he's still a child, which he doesn't have an understanding of the whole fertilization of the eggs things. He's a kid that finds something in the carpet, picks it up, and puts it in his mouth.
True.
So it's still playing off of that too. Anyways, never mind. But they take him in, they take care of him, and I'm telling you, man, this scene where they go on the mission, they jump on this freighter ship, is just awesome. This is like, why couldn't this be on the big screen? Because this is killer.
Yeah, I agree. And she says it's an Imperial Gazanti freighter. And, again, I'm just trying to catch all these names and words for when they come up with something later and I can go, yay. But, I mean, yeah, this freighter comes, it blasts off and you see it across the horizon with the 3 thrusters going. And, again, It looks like it's a weather-worn Imperial freighter. It's got all the hallmarks of the old Star Destroyers. And they got stormtroopers that are on either side of it as guards, but they don't see them coming, man. They jetpack up there and they start this siege, this attack, and it's just incredible.
It's really awesome, man. They're just cleaning the house with these guys, and your guys up in the cockpit are like hearing the reports. We're being attacked. We're being ambushed, and I think they're Mandalorian, and there's at least 10 of them. And then one of them does like a heat reading thing. It's like, wait a minute, I only see 4 in the system. So that just shows you again just how awesome this group is. I mean, they're like Navy SEALs going in here and just wiping these stormtroopers out from section to section of this ship. And then they make their way to the back to where all the weapons are, and they shut the doors on each side of them and kind of trap them in between. And I love that guy's like, I think we got him trapped. We got him trapped in the control room cell. And they're like, what?
Right. It's like the supply control room or something. And then immediately we got him trapped in there. Ah! Because they all just get sucked out into space,
They hit the dock door and everything goes flying out the back of the ship. It's great, man. But needless to say, they get in there, and these are some awesome-looking weapons. I'm like, why are stormtroopers not using these weapons? Because these things look killer.
Yeah, that's a good question. Like, I kind of thought they were Mandalorian weapons from the way she was talking in the tavern, but I guess that doesn't make any sense. It's just that there's a cache of heavy military assault weapons that they need, I guess, to arm their troops to go retake Mandalore, but... Is it Mandalore? Yeah. Is that their homeworld? Is Mandalore?
Yes.
Yeah. Man, I feel like I just don't know. For a long time, I knew everything, and now I just have to relearn. But I want to give a shout out to the suntanned captain dude, man.
Yeah.
This dude's got a tan, and like, what a tan.
Yeah. He's just... he's not getting too excited. He's like, he calls up Moff Gideon, and he's like, yeah, we're under siege, and seems like the same one's been attacking us before, but we need backup, like, immediately. But he's keeping pretty calm, and then when Moff Gideon's like, yeah, I'm afraid it's too far gone, so you know what to do. Dude never bats an eye or anything. He's like, of course.
Yeah.
And pulls out his blaster, shoots the 2 pilots, jumps in the pilot's seat, and proceeds to crash the ship and kill everybody on board, hoping to get rid of, not only the Mandos, but just
all
get rid of everything.
All the stuff that they were going to get a hold of, he's like, well, we got to get rid of all this stuff if it's going to fall into enemy hands. And
right.
And so, then the next thing, you got them sieging the ship, you got them taking the stuff, and now they have to go get the ship under control before it crashes into the ocean planet of Trask, you say?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's on a collision course with wackiness there, and they have to get through. And there's another thing where Mando jumps in there and takes some blaster fire and drops some grenades and blows them all up.
Yeah.
And then they get in there and
Bo-Katan.
Bo-Katan. See, I turned the page, so I didn't have it written down. Bo-Katan, starts interrogating the captain guy who, as far as I could tell, didn't have a name, but he had a tan, man. This dude was tan, and he's like, "I'll tell you nothing." And then he does the old cyanide pill in the tooth.
Yeah, but this is more like an electrical charge. It's like it like sends electronic pulses to his brain and just kills him instantly. And it's like, wow, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I got cyanide tooth Imperial style.
Yeah. But yeah, man, he does himself in, and then Mando and one of the other guards gets in the seats, and they barely get the ship back up in time, and the mission is accomplished. And when all is said and done, Bo-Katan says, "Hey, why don't you just join us? We make a pretty awesome team. Come with us, and we'll rule our planet again together." And he's like, "Yeah, you know what? I've got something I got to do."
Yeah, he's like, "You know what? I already rule, and so I don't need y'all. Peace."
So yeah, they split their ways, and this is where Mando goes back and gets the baby. And at this point, the frog couple has had a little baby, and it's in a little petri dish. And Baby Yoda, or baby, I don't call him Baby Yoda, but the baby is really enthralled with this thing. I'm thinking, oh no, he's going to pick it up and put it in his mouth.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. And you kind of get the thing of he wants it, like as a pet. And then when they're leaving, Mando even says, "No, I don't have room for another pet." So
Right.
Not to mention, we'd be taking it from these frog people that their whole purpose in life was to have this baby. So
right. And I'm thinking that's one of the eggs. The other ones are probably hatched too, we hope.
Sure.
Yeah.
You would hope so. And we get back to the dock where the Mon Calamari has been fixing his ship, and wow, what a job this guy's done on this ship, man.
Like the outside, you see that he's welded on all kinds of scrap parts from other stuff to close up the hole. But then, like, what I like is when you get inside, it's got like fish netting and strapping and stuff holding things together.
Yeah, man.
He walks in, he's like, "Mon Calamari."
Fishing nets are wrapped around the seats just to hold the cushions on the chairs. It's, I don't know, man. I got a big blast out of that, man. He's got just ropes tied to stuff, holding things together. Mando starts it up, and this thing's just shaking and rattling, and yeah, just like you said, he's got that Mon Calamari. He just shake his head like, man, come on. But
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I was going to say. Go ahead.
You.
Okay. One thing we did get is when the Mandalorian is leaving Bo-Katan, and she actually tells him that you got to go to Corvus and look for Ahsoka Jano, which is another Clone War character that will definitely play a big part in all this.
Yeah, we had heard she was going to be involved, and Ahsoka Tano, it was kind of like the Clone Wars character, really.
Yes, yeah, that's right. And that's not going to be. It's going to require some jumping through some hoops to get to her. It's not going to be just pull up and say, "Hey, are you Ahsoka? Okay, hey, I got this baby." So there's definitely going to be some action leading up to them even meeting each other, I'm sure.
Well, and she even gave him a city. She said the city of Caladan on the forest moon of Corvus. So
yeah,
that's pretty good, because usually they just say, "Well, go to this planet." It's like, man, have you ever tried to find one person on a planet?
Right.
At least he has a city. But I also wanted to say that on the and that's exactly why I was cutting you off was to say what you just said. But I also caught that do you catch where she was like, "Well, if you want to know about the Jedi, you got to help me take this whole ship now." And he was like, "You're changing the terms of our deal." And she says, "Yeah, this is the way."
Yeah, and you kind of wonder about that too, because it's almost like, okay, I mean, I get, it's just like the ends justifies the means, right? So I don't know. She may not be the best person to be leading, the Mandalorian civilization. I mean, if this is her decision making abilities,
hey, maybe so.
I don't know. You question the character a little bit.
It's not like he had much of a choice at that point. He could have been like, nope,
Right.
I got your stuff. You're crashing in the ocean. No, I'm leaving. But
Right.
yeah, there wasn't really much of a choice there. But it was a moment where, he was like, hey, you can't just change the deal. And she's like, what was the deal anyway? Come on, let's go.
Yeah. Hey, it's a great episode. It's really, really good.
It's so good. And it's better than the last one, in my opinion. And it's on par with the first.
Yeah, I mean, these they're really hitting it. All cylinders are kicking in this second season, man. So I'm just blown away by just how good this is.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the next one.
Me too, man.
Well, okay, so that was Mandalorian episode 12, was it? 11? 12? 12. The Heiress.
There you go, folks. Hey, let us know what you're thinking about this, if you're enjoying it, if you're not. If you got some stuff that we missed on there, because I know there's tons of Easter eggs in all of these. Let's just keep that conversation going. Till then, we'll see you next time right here on This Is the Way.